All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're ready for some more NFL DFS. I am your famous, friendly, family favorite fantasy football guy, and tonight we have a doubleheader for Monday Night Football. We've got two games tonight. We've got Buffalo at Atlanta, and we have got Chicago at Washington. And I'm going to break down these matchups for you and just tell you who I think are going to be the best plays tonight. And I'm going to start off with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen's averaging 24.8 fantasy points a game, but he's playing Atlanta, who was fourth against the quarterbacks and first against the pass. So for that reason, I'm going to fade him tonight. I'm not going to play him tonight. I do think he'll get points because he's Josh Allen. He's a great quarterback, and he can do good in bad matchups, but I don't think he's going to do as well as Jaden Daniels tonight. Jaden Daniels is going to be my quarterback tonight. It was kind of a toss-up between him and Caleb Williams because of their matchups and because they've both played well this year. So Jaden Daniels did have that game or two he sat out because he was hurt. He was injured, but last game he got 17. Let's double check. 17.1 fantasy points in week 5. So he did all right there, guys. And I think he's going to do great tonight. So the Bears are 29th against the quarterback, 18th against the pass, and 31st against the rush, which is important. One, because as I say often, it takes the pressure off of the quarterback to pass as much. But Jaden Daniels also has 124 rush yards already on the season. He's got 664 pass yards, and that was with that injured game, keep in mind, or injured 2 games, I believe. So he's doing good, guys, and he's in a great spot here. I am projecting him to be the highest this week as far as fantasy points go for quarterbacks. And of course, I say this week. I mean for Monday night. I don't mean the entire week, guys. Caleb Williams, however, also has a fantastic matchup, and he's averaging 21 fantasy points a game. The Commanders are 23rd against the quarterback. They are 23rd against the pass, and he is just set up in a great spot as well. So either of those two guys I like. I just personally like Daniels better here. Michael Penix Jr., he's only averaging 14.5 a game. And Buffalo is 9th against the quarterback. I'm not even going to click on him to look any further than that. Let's go ahead and put Jaden Daniels in that quarterback spot. And then moving on, we've got obvious play. I can't imagine anybody not playing Bijan Robinson tonight. He got 31.1 points last week. He's averaging 24.4 a game. Of course, I'm talking about fantasy points. The Bills are 24th against the running back position, 30th against the rush. Bijan, in my opinion, quite possibly could be the highest scoring player out of these two games, fantasy point wise. I believe he will be. At least he should be on paper. James Cook, he's averaging 21 fantasy points a game, but Atlanta is first against the running back and 16th against the rush. I don't think this is going to be his best game. I don't. And I think I'm not going to play him because I like Krosky Merritt a lot better here. He's only averaging 12.9 fantasy points a game, so you're going to want to keep that in mind. But in week 5, he got 31 fantasy points. Phenomenal game. And the Bears are 31st against the running back and 31st against the rush. I do not see why he should not explode in a good way this week and just do great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Swift, I am probably going to end up playing maybe as a flex option. So Swift is only averaging 12.8 fantasy points a game. Washington is 11th against the running back and 19th against the rush. But I'm going to go back here because I want to point out, you got to keep in mind that Swift, he gets a lot of passes, guys. In week 4, he got 6 targets. Week 3, he had 4 targets. Week 2, he had 3 targets. Week 1, he had 5 targets. I expect him to do well this week, but not as well as those other 2 backs. With that said, guys, we'll put Krosky Merritt in there, and I do expect Odunze to either be the top or one of the top receivers out of these 2 games. He has averaged 20.6 fantasy points a game. Washington's 25th against the wide receiver, 23rd against the pass. I'm just going to go ahead and slot him in there because he's going to do great this week. Deebo Samuel is questionable. He's got a heel injury, so you're going to want to check back in somewhere to look and see if he's going to play for sure. It looks like he was limited at practice on Friday, but he has a chance to play Monday. That's what DraftKings is saying. So if he does play, he is averaging 17.7 fantasy points a game. Last 2 weeks, he's had over 20 points. And he's playing the Bears, who are 24th against the wide receiver and 18th against the pass. But he also runs, too. So keep in mind that 31st against the rush, that also helps Deebo Samuel because he plays running back a lot. He'll run the football, too, as well. So I like him here, and apologize, guys. I keep pushing buttons. I'm bouncing my screen all over the place. I don't love Drake London's matchup here, guys, and I don't like DJ Moore near as much as I do Odunze. Odunze's just outperformed him a lot here, but it is tough not to play DJ Moore, and I thought about actually playing him in a flex spot. I'm not going to play him as my 3rd wide receiver here because I'm saving salary cap, and show you why in a second. But I broke down these next few receivers, guys, and just to save some time here, the one who gets the most targets is Zacchaeus. So the Bears, what would that be? 3rd receiver? He's their 3rd, right? Yep, he's listed as their 3rd wide receiver. He gets the most targets out of these wide receivers down here. But you also have some injuries in there. So McLeod, Mooney is out this week, so McLeod might get some extra work. Not totally sure, but actually I think I looked at that. So Mooney was out in he went out in week 4. Okay, so Ray McLeod, week 4, yeah. I don't think he's going to get that big of an uptick. I really don't, guys. But I do think Zacchaeus is probably the best option out of these guys. And then the tight ends, they have been difficult to pick. I'm not even going to look at Kincaid because he's got a terrible matchup, but I don't think that's going to matter as much if he plays. He is questionable as well, so you're going to want to check somewhere if you do want to play him, because I think he's been the best tight end this year out of all these guys so far. However, I don't like his matchup. I don't like Kyle Pitts' matchup. Those are the best matchups defensively against those positions, so I don't want to play either of those guys. Zach Ertz and Kmet, those are the 2 that I was trying to pick between. Kmet got 9 targets last week, but in the previous games before that, he hardly got targets at all. Whereas Zach Ertz last week only got 1 target, but the weeks before that, he got way more targets. So projection-wise online, it's looking like Ertz would be the way to go if you're going with projections. For some reason, I kind of still like Kmet, but for the sake of whatever, we'll go Ertz here. And that's going to leave us. Let's go ahead and do our defense first. The Bills have the best matchup, but they only average 4.8 fantasy points a game. They are playing Atlanta, and I don't expect Atlanta to do super well against these guys, but I can imagine they can do well enough that against a defense that's only averaging 4.8 fantasy points a game, that the Bills defense shouldn't look that good tonight. But I could be way wrong. That they could just roll with it. But let's look and see what they've done. Their highest scoring game has been 10 fantasy points against the Jets, who have not won a game at all this year. I believe. I'm pretty sure my Broncos just beat them and kept them winless all year. So, other than that, they had 2 6-point games, a 2-point game, and a 0-point game. I don't love them here. The Commanders last week had 13 points. In week 3, they had 11 points. In week 1, they had 9 points. The other 2 games, they only had 2. But they've had a decent year. Their matchup, not necessarily super great. The Bears are 7th against the defense. But then your next option is going to be the Bears, who also average 7 a game, guys. But they're week 4, they had 10 points. Week 3, 11. Week 1, they had 11. Week 2, they had -4. It looks to me like the Bears would be a better option. However, you look at what these guys have done, and the Bears have 7 interceptions and 5 sacks, whereas the Commanders have 15 sacks and only 2 interceptions. And here's the deal. The reason I point that out and I say that is because Jaden Daniels has not thrown an interception all year, according to Google at least. He has not thrown a single interception all year, and that seems to be the Bears' strong point versus the sacks, whereas the Commanders have 15 sacks already this season, and I looked to see how many times Caleb Williams has been sacked. He has been sacked 7 times this year, also according to Google. And according to Google, in 2024, so last year, he was sacked 68 times overall, which apparently is 3rd in NFL history for a season, for at least for a rookie. So that's what it said online. I'm just going to point that out there. That's how I came to my conclusion to play the Commanders here instead of the Bears. And then the Falcons, they have one good game that was really good. In week 2 against Minnesota, they had 21 fantasy points, giving them that average of 7.2, but they're playing the Bills and Josh Allen. So I don't expect them to do great at all tonight. They're the lowest salaried, and I think that's for good reason. So I'm going with the Commanders here. And then I don't want to give away my whole lineup, but you then have a remaining salary of $6,400, which could give you Drake London, who would be projected the highest out of all these players, I believe, except, well, out of the next 3 that I'm going to name, and the next two are going to be, out of the 3 that I'm going to name, he was the first one. DeAndre Swift is the second one. Drake London is projected more. However, I think Swift has a better matchup. I just like him better here. And because of the targets that he's had, he is projected higher than DJ Moore. Less than Drake London, but because of the matchup, I might end up playing Swift there. You could go a different route. You could play a second stringer, just due to some of these injuries, like McLaren being out. You could see what receivers might get an uptick in their usage, but I don't think it's going to be worth going that deep diving into it, guys. So, yeah, with that said, I'm going to leave that one up in the air, but these are the guys that I like tonight the most. I would say the most important play would be Bijan Robinson. And probably Odunze at receiver. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate you watching. I hope that you do good tonight. I really do. And I hope that you also come back and watch my video for Thursday night, and from there, so on and so forth. But have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to. And, yeah, have a good one. Thanks.